She slammed her fist on the hood of my truck and shouted, "You're trespassing! This is HOA property!" Her face was red, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. I held my ground because I knew the dirt under my boots wasn't hers, it was mine. My wife stood behind me, holding our little girl's hand, trying to stay calm, but the tension was thick. Then Karen pulled out her phone, dialed 911 right in front of us, and screamed, "Arrest him! He's refusing HOA orders!" I almost laughed at how crazy it sounded, but the sound of sirens in the distance wiped the smile off my face. My heart sank as my daughter's eyes filled with fear. She whispered, "Daddy, are they going to take you away?" That cut deeper than anything Karen could say. The cops rolled up fast, lights flashing, and she ran straight to them like she was the queen of the street. "Officer, this man is hostile. He's refusing to follow HOA rules," she cried, pointing at me like I was some criminal. I kept my mouth shut because arguing wasn't going to help. One of the officers looked at me and asked, "Do you live here?" Before I could answer, Karen shoved a paper in his hands. It was an official notice stamped with HOA letters. "He's violating our bylaws. He's not allowed to live here unless he signs the agreement," she said, smirking like she had already won. But I recognized that paper, and it wasn't official. It was something she printed off her own computer. My fists clenched, not from fear, but from what I knew she didn't. 3 days earlier, I had already filed a complaint with the county about her fake HOA board, and tonight, she had no idea who she was really playing with. I leaned down to my daughter and whispered, "Don't be scared. Daddy's not the one in trouble here." The officer studied the paper, his brow furrowing. Karen leaned in closer, lowering her voice just enough for us to hear, "Once he's gone, this house is mine to find. Board vote already passed." My wife's grip tightened on her daughter's hand, and I felt the heat rise in my chest. She wasn't just trying to bully us, she was trying to steal from us. The cop asked for my ID, and I handed it over calmly. Karen cut in fast. "Don't bother, officer. He doesn't belong here. This land is HOA jurisdiction." Her arrogance dripped with every word. The officer gave me a sharp look, but before he could say more, I pulled out my wallet and unfolded a laminated card. His eyes caught the seal immediately. Karen's smile froze. What is that?" she asked, her voice suddenly shaky. I didn't answer her. I looked straight at the officer instead. "You might want to run the parcel number before you listen to her," I said quietly. The second officer tapped on his tablet, entered the number I gave, and a moment later, his face shifted. He turned to Karen. "This property doesn't belong to your HOA. It's county land, privately owned. You got an explanation for this fake notice?" Karen's lips trembled, but then she flipped the switch back to fury. "They're lying! They forged the documents! You can't trust them!" She spun around, pointing at us like she could scream her way into power. That's when headlights appeared down the street, 3 black SUVs pulling up fast. Karen's confidence returned instantly, her smile curling. "That's my board," she whispered, almost proudly. But when the doors opened, it wasn't her board stepping out. It was men in tactical vests with county sheriff written across their chests. Karen's jaw dropped the second those vests caught the flashing lights. She stumbled back, her voice breaking. No, this isn't happening." The sheriff leading the team strode forward, holding a folder thick with documents. He didn't even glance at me. He went straight to her. "Karen Miller?" His voice boomed. She froze. "You've been served with a cease and desist order. You and your so-called HOA board are under investigation for fraud, impersonation of a government entity, and extortion." The officers beside her stiffened. "This is a mistake," Karen shouted, her tone twisting between panic and rage. "I don't understand the rules here. I'm in charge. This neighborhood is mine." I couldn't help it. I let out a laugh, short and sharp. "Karen, you printed HOA bylaws off Microsoft Word and taped them to my door." The sheriff flipped open his folder and held up photos. Copies of the fake notices she'd been handing out, screenshots of her emails threatening families with eviction, even bank transfers where she'd been collecting fees. Every neighbor watching from their windows gasped. Karen tried to lunge for the folder, but two deputies pinned her arms behind her back. She screamed, "This is harassment! I am the law here!" The sheriff didn't blink. He turned to me, gave a respectful nod, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Thank you for filing the report. Without your evidence, she might have gotten away with this longer." My daughter tugged at my sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, are they going to take you away?" I crouched down and kissed her forehead and said, "Yeah, baby, this time the right person is going." But as Karen was shoved into the back of the cruiser, she leaned out and hissed, "You think this is over. My board won't stop. You'll regret this." And for the first time that night, I felt a chill.
The cruiser carrying Karen sped off, but her words stuck in the air like smoke. Neighbors were gathering now, stepping out of their homes, whispering to each other. Some looked relieved, some terrified. My wife whispered, "What did she mean, her board won't stop?" Before I could answer, one of the deputies' radios crackled. "Be advised, multiple subjects exiting a clubhouse on Ridgewood Drive, possible suspects connected to the Miller HOA fraud case." The sheriff's head snapped toward me. "That's 3 blocks down, right?" I nodded slowly. "That's where she's been calling her meetings, always locked up tight." The sheriff barked orders, and within seconds, the tactical team piled back into their SUVs. My wife gripped my arm. "Wait, are they saying she had a whole crew?" I didn't want to scare her, but the truth was uglier than Karen's shouting. I'd already seen glimpses. Men in suits showing up at night, neighbors suddenly paying cash for fees, people too scared to talk. Karen wasn't acting alone. She was the face of something bigger. The SUVs tore off, lights slicing through the dark. I stayed with my family, the silence heavy. Then, just 15 minutes later, the sound came again. Sirens, this time louder, sharper. 3 more patrol cars raced past our street. My phone buzzed, and I saw a message from an old buddy on the force. "You'll want to see this. Ridgewood just got raided. It's not just Karen. It's the whole board." I showed my wife. Her eyes widened. "Raided? For what?" Before I could answer, another neighbor ran up out of breath. "They're pulling boxes out of the clubhouse. Computers, files. It looks like the FBI is there too." My heart sank and twisted at the same time. I thought Karen was just a power-hungry busybody, but what if her fake HOA was hiding something much darker? I picked up my daughter, held her close, and whispered to myself, "This is bigger than we ever thought." Word spread fast. By the time I drove down to Ridgewood, the whole street was lit up red and blue. Yellow tape wrapped around the so-called HOA clubhouse, and agents and windbreakers were hauling out boxes stacked with files. I spotted the sheriff standing near the entrance, face tight, speaking into a radio. One of my neighbors whispered, "They found cash inside, like stacks of it. And guns." Another added, "I heard it's tied to property scams in 3 different counties." The crowd murmured louder, fear mixing with curiosity. I edged closer until the sheriff saw me. He pulled me aside, lowered his voice, and said, "You're right to file that complaint. This wasn't just about HOA fraud. They've been running an illegal operation under the name of a homeowners association. Forged liens, fake fines, even laundering money through membership fees." My wife gasped when she heard, clutching our daughter tighter. I stared at the building, the sign out front that read, "Ridgewood HOA Headquarters." It had always looked cheap, thrown together. But inside, it was a machine robbing families blind. Then I saw them dragging out 2 men I'd recognized from Karen's backyard barbecue last summer. They weren't neighbors at all. They were part of her board. One of them shouted as he was shoved into a squad car, "We'll get out! This isn't over!" Karen's words came rushing back. Her board wouldn't stop. And looking at the fury in their eyes, I believed it. The sheriff noticed my expression and leaned in. "Listen, your name is all over her files. She targeted you for a reason. You might want to be careful. These people don't give up easy."